Okay, so finally we have reached a point where we can actually commence the syllabus. So we start with detailed study of silicon control rectifier. Unit number 1, power devices. Silicon controlled rectifier, abbreviated as SCR, right? SCR. So first we will write down some important points which describes not only the device but also the family to which this device belongs. So each and every point conveys a meaning. So you can consider that it is directly the notes which are narrated in the class. So SCR is the first and oldest member of a power device family thyristor. Okay. So the first thing to understand is that SCR is the first and oldest member of a power device family called thyristor. Okay. SCR's applications are so vast that the terms SCR and thyristor are used interchangeably. Okay. So SCR is the first and oldest member of a power device family, thyristor. SCR's applications are so vast that the terms SCR and thyristor are used interchangeably. So, thyristor family refers to all those devices which exhibit the following properties. Okay, so thyristor family refers to all those devices which exhibit the following properties. First, block the entire input voltage across them. When we say across them, that is between their terminals. When in off state. Okay, so the first property which any device belonging to thyristor family must exhibit is that device must block the entire input voltage across itself, that is between its terminals, when it is in off state. The second property is conducts large amount of current it is plural, so conduct large amount of current through them when in on state. Third, must have minimum turn on and turn off times. That is the time taken for the device to switch from off to on state is called as turn on time, and the time taken to change from on to off state is called as turn off time. So must have minimum turn on and turn off times. Fourth is must offer two things. It must offer minimum on state voltage drop minimum on state voltage drop across them, and also minimum on state resistance. Across them. The fifth property is operate with minimum operating voltage. Okay, operate with minimum operating voltage. So operating voltage in this case refers to the voltage or current needed to switch states, that is off to on and on to off. And sixth important property which all of them exhibit is that they function as control rectifiers. Controlled rectifiers. Okay, so this property of controlled rectifiers is not exhibited by other power devices such as power diodes, power BJTs and power MOSFETs. That is why I'm writing a comment here, not exhibited by other power devices such as power diodes, power BJTs and power MOSFETs. Yeah. So the next important point is SCR is similar to a diode in the sense that it is a unidirectional device that is it conducts in only one direction when forward biased. Okay, so we are going to use the abbreviation FB for forward biased and RB for reverse biased. Okay, so SCR is similar to a diode in the sense that it is a unidirectional device, that is it conducts in only one direction, that is also when it is forward biased. So when a diode is reverse biased, it normally doesn't conduct, but if the reverse bias voltage is greater than a critical value called as reverse breakdown voltage VBR, then diode does conduct in reverse direction, but that is not the normal mode of operation for a diode. Similarly, SCR also conducts only when it is forward biased and it does not conduct when it is reverse biased. And similar to a diode, if we apply a reverse voltage between the SCR's terminals greater than, with a value greater than a critical value called as reverse breakdown voltage, SCR also will undergo a reverse breakdown and will start conducting in the reverse direction, but that is not a normal mode of operation. Okay, so this is one similarity between SCR and diode. Okay, but the dissimilarity or what makes SCR different than a diode or what makes it special compared to a diode is that SCR has an ability to control its conduction even after it is forward biased. So we had touched upon this point while discussing the fundamentals, that why a diode is called as an uncontrolled rectifier and why SCR is called as a controlled rectifier. And we had made a point that diode is called as an uncontrolled rectifier because once the diode is forward biased, that is its anode is positive with respect to cathode with a potential difference greater than the cut-in voltage, then diode must conduct. That is when the potential difference between anode and cathode terminals of a diode is greater than its internal energy, that is zero point 0.7 volts, diode must conduct. But in SCR, even though the potential difference between anode and cathode is positive, still the SCR will not start conducting till a firing pulse is applied to its control terminal called as gate. That is why SCRs are known as control rectifiers, because even though they are in forward bias condition, the duration for which they will conduct can be controlled in the sense that they will not start conducting till a firing pulse is applied at the gate terminal, right? So while we have enlisted the similarity between SCR and diode, now we must enlist the dissimilarity between both of them. So another similarity is SCR has reverse characteristics similar to those of a diode. Now, SCR is different than a diode in the following sense. Okay, that is, a forward biased diode must conduct, and a forward biased SCR will not conduct till it receives a firing pulse at its gate terminal. Okay, so an SCR is different than a diode in the following sense: a forward bias diode must conduct, and a forward bias SCR will not conduct till it receives a firing pulse at its gate terminal. And we already discussed that if we apply a single phase 230 volts RMS 50 hertz supply to a diode, then its cut-in voltage being 0.7 volts, the positive half cycle of the supply will attain a value of 0.7 volts at merely 0.12 degrees, that is almost at 0 degrees, that is omega t equal to 0 degrees is the instant at which the single phase supply will attain the cut-in voltage of the diode, and diode will instantaneously start conducting. What the point? On the other hand, an SCR will not conduct even though it is driven by a single phase AC supply. Okay, so we have already discussed this thing before, so I will not repeat it. Now, what makes the SCR different than a diode is here. So we can put it down like this, that just like a diode has built-in potential or cut-in voltage equal to 0.7 volts and which must be exceeded by the applied source to make it conduct. SCR also has a built-in potential. SCR also has a built-in potential known as breakover voltage. SCR also has a built-in potential known as breakover voltage, which is denoted as V subscript BO with a value of 600 volts. I repeat, 600 volts. So just like a diode has built-in potential of 0.7 volts, SCR also has a built-in potential with a value of 600 volts. So just like the applied source must exceed the value of 0.7 volts to make the diode conduct, the applied source must exceed 600 volts to make the SCR conduct. So that is why an SCR does not start conducting even at omega t equal to pi by 2 when the single phase AC reaches its peak value Vm equal to 325 volts. Okay, known as breakover voltage with LF 600 volts, and which must be exceeded by the applied source to make it conduct. Here important thing to understand is to make it conduct in absence of firing pulse. Okay, we will come to this point when we actually discuss about firing of an SCR. So understand this point that SCR also has a built-in potential known as breakover voltage VBO with a value of 600 volt and which must be exceeded by the applied source to make it conduct in absence of firing pulse. Now let us consider a setup where I have applied a single phase AC source to an SCR. Okay, so here I have my SCR. This is my gate terminal. Okay, and here is my single phase AC source, and here I am having a resistive load. Okay, and this is my anode, this is my cathode, and this is my gate terminal. Now I am applying the line and neutral. Applying the line to anode, I am applying the upper terminal of the load to cathode, and the second terminal of the load is connected to the neutral terminal of the supply. This is RL, right? So now this is 230 volt RMS, 50 hertz single phase supply. Now this particular source at omega t equal to pi by 2 radians has a value Vs equal to Vm sin omega t. So equal to Vs equal to Vm, which is equal to 325 volt. Okay, so the maximum possible value of the single phase source occurs at omega t equal to pi by 2 radians, and the value is 325 volt. Now this particular SCR with a typical part number TYN612. So usually TYN612 is the, I can say, the weakest SCRs available in market. Okay, so what are the ratings? When I say I am using the SCR TYN612, here the number 6 indicates that the breakover voltage VBO is equal to 600 volts, and this number 12, it indicates that it can carry an RMS current of 12 amperes. So this is called as IRMS max rating of the SCR. So this particular SCR, whose part number is TYN612, has a breakover voltage of 600 volts, and the maximum RMS current which it can carry is actually 12 amperes. Now this breakover voltage of 100-600 volts indicates that if I do not apply a firing pulse here, okay, so if I do not apply a firing pulse at the gate terminal, then the voltage appearing between anode and cathode must be at least 600 volts in order for the SCR to start conducting. Okay, that means VBO equal to 600 volts indicates that the VAK min. So VAK indicates the potential difference between the anode and cathode terminals. So I can indicate it like this. So I can say this is VAK. So VAK is the potential difference between anode and cathode terminals. So breakover voltage of 600 volts indicates that the minimum voltage which must appear between anode and cathode terminals should be equal to 600 volts in absence of firing pulse. So this is the requirement. Now we know that in a single phase system, a value as high as 600 volts will never appear. We know this. Is it okay? So if I draw the single phase supply here, omega t, this is my instantaneous value Vs of omega t, and here I have pi, here I have 2 pi, and here I have 3 pi, and I have plus Vm and I have minus Vm, plus Vm, minus Vm, and this is pi, this is 2 pi, this is 3 pi. So at pi by 2, it attains a positive peak. Similarly at 3 pi by 2. So we have, it's going like this. Right? So this maximum value attained is 325 volts. That is why even if the SCR is driven by a single phase AC source, even though the positive half cycle is going on, still, because in the absence of a gate drive, the SCR needs a minimum 600 volt potential difference between its anode and cathode terminals. That is why a single phase AC source is not able to fire an SCR. Okay, so that is why the conclusion is since the maximum possible value of a single phase AC supply during positive half cycle is 325 volts at omega t equal to pi by 2 radians. It cannot fire an SCR in absence of gate pulse. Okay, so this is what it means when you say that the breakover voltage of an SCR is equal to 600 volts. Okay, so now we go on to learn what are the symbols of an SCR and what are the planar structures of an SCR. Yeah. So I first make a statement and then we will try to appreciate that statement. So I say that SCR is a 3-terminal 4-layer device. Okay, I repeat that an SCR is a 3-terminal 4-layer device. Okay, it's a 3-terminal 4-layer device. This is why it is called as a 3-terminal device. So the symbol of SCR can be very easily made by first making the symbol for a diode and just adding one terminal to it. It is this terminal. Okay, so this is the first terminal and it is called as anode, similar to diode. The second terminal is denoted as K, cathode, and it has just one additional terminal called as gate G. Okay, so we have anode, we have cathode, and we have gate. Okay, that is why we call it as a 3-terminal device, because it has 3 terminals: anode A, cathode K, and gate G. Why it is called as a 4-terminal device? Because unlike a diode which has only 2 layers or 2 regions, that is one p-type region fused with one n-type region, SCRs are manufactured by putting 4 layers, that is 2 p layers and 2 n layers in an alternating fashion. So what we will do is we will just try to understand if there is a one-to-one correspondence between the symbol and the planar structure of an SCR, then how we can relate it. So again we draw a dotted line from cathode terminal, and we also have a dotted line from the gate terminal. So these are the 4 layers, and the first layer is a p-type region. So we say it is, so it is many times called as p n p n. That is why many a times SR is also called as a pin device. So diode is called as PN device because there are 2 layers, P and N. So diode is also called as a PN structure, and because here there are 4 layers and they are alternating as PN PN, many times it is also called as pin structure, PN PN. Okay, now so that we do not confuse between this P layer and this P layer and this N layer and this N layer, we give it some subscripts, that is P1, N1, P2 and N2. Okay, so naturally if you want to have one-to-one correspondence between this symbol and this 4-layer structure, then this is the anode A, then we have cathode K, and this gate, it's nothing but it connects to the P2 region, that is the 3rd layer of the device. So this is my gate, again highlighting as before, gate. Okay, so we see here that the out of the 4 layers, P1, P2 and N2 are having equal widths, but the layer N2, layer N1 is actually the widest. So I repeat that amongst the 4 layers present within an SCR's planar structure, P1, N1, P2 and N2, the width of the layers P1, P2 and N2 is same, while the width of the second layer, that is N1, is the largest. There are reasons for that which I will tell you soon, right? So not only are differences in the widths of the layers, but also there are differences in the doping concentrations within the layer. So whenever any semiconductor device is shown as a combination of different p-type and n-type layers, that particular diagram is actually called as a planar structure. So we say that this is called as a symbol and this is called as the planar structure. So this is called as the symbol of an SCR, and this is called as a planar structure. So then that is why whenever it is told that draw the planar structure of an SCR, this is what you are supposed to draw. Okay, so we can make some observations here, P1, P2 and N2. So I can make a point that the 3 terminals of an SCR are anode, cathode and gate. The 4 layers of an SCR are P1, N1, P2 and N2. So we say that P1, P2 and N2, they have equal widths, while N2 is the widest of all layers. Okay, now we come to what is called as a doping profile of an SCR, that is what is the doping concentration in the units of atoms per cc in the planar structure. So what we do is we have to rotate the device. Okay, so again what I do is that I copy this particular device and I should rotate it. So what I do is I will rotate this whole planar structure in anti-clockwise direction by 90 degrees. So P1, N1, P2, N2. Okay. Anode, cathode, and gate. Okay. So on y-axis we have the doping concentration. In atoms per cc, and on the x-axis we have distance. D. And now we are supposed to learn what is the doping concentration for region P1, what is the doping concentration for region N1, what is the doping concentration for region P2, and similarly for N2. So we are going to draw dotted lines here. So understand one thing, that my device starts here and it ends here. Okay. So understand that my device is starting at d equal to 0 and finishing at d equal to this thing. So I can say that this is d equal to 0, the starting of the device, and this is the end of the device. Now there are three levels: 10 raised to 19, 10 raised to 17, and 10 raised to 14. I'll make some more space now. Ten raised to 19, 10 raised to 17, and 10 raised to 14. See now how it goes. Okay. So the layer P1 has a doping concentration of 10 raised to 19 atoms per cc. N1 has a doping concentration of 10 raised to 14 atoms per cc. P2 has a doping concentration of 10 raised to 17. Okay. It has a doping concentration of 10 raised to 17 and N2 is as equally doped as P1, right? So let us mark levels. Okay, so P1 is at 10 raised to 19, N1 is the least, that is at 10 raised to 14, P2 is at 10 raised to 17, and again this is at 10 raised to 19, right? But the doping concentration has a gradient kind of profile. It does not abruptly switch from 10 raised to 19 at P1 to 10 raised to 14 at N2, and does not have a step rise from 10 raised to 14 at N1 to 10 raised to 17 at P2. Also, it does not have a step jump from 10 raised to 17 at P2 to 10 raised to 19 at N2. So it goes something like this. Okay, so it goes like this here, and then here also it goes to 10 raised to 14 like this. Goes down like this. It jumps to 10 raised to 17 in this fashion, and then it jumps like this, and then it comes down. Why? Because we know that beyond this point there is no device. So device ends at this point. So I'll also mark the starting point. So the starting point of the device is here, ending point is here. So second marker, third marker, fourth marker. Okay. So this to this is 10 raised to 19. This to this is 10 raised to 14. This to this is 10 raised to 17. Again 10 raised to 19. So we can write it like this now. 19, 10 raised to 14, 10 raised to 17, 10 raised to 19, right? So while we have noted one thing, that the second layer N1 is the widest amongst the four layers, we also came to know that N1 is not only the widest, but it is also the most lightly doped. It is also the most lightly doped. Okay. So we can actually write here 10 raised to 19, 10 raised to 14, 10 raised to 17, and 10 raised to 19. Okay, so we can say here that P1 comma N2 are most heavily doped, P2 is moderately doped, and N1 is most lightly doped. Now a question can come to our mind that why the manufacturers have kept N1 as the widest region. It will come now. Okay. Question: why the second layer N1 is kept wider and lightly doped? The answer lies here. The first reason is to give SCR its characteristic high voltage blocking ability to give SCR its characteristic high voltage blocking ability, technically called as a breakover voltage, equal to 600 volts. Again, terms and conditions apply in absence of firing pulse. It's very important. In absence of firing pulse. In both forward and reverse bias conditions. Okay, and the second reason is this is the reason actually. Another reason actually can be told here, but then we have to explain the concept of space charge layers. That is the depth or the extent to which the depletion region extends into a semiconductor doped region depending upon its doping concentration. Okay. So the above point can be explained in this way, that why an SCR does not conduct even though it is forward biased, or we can say what blocks a forward biased SCR. So again the same thing is, we can again draw the SCR here. We can have P1 into, okay, so we have P1, N1, P2, N2. We have anode, we have cathode, and we have gate. Okay, so nothing is applied to the gate, and here what I do is I apply a battery. So plus and minus. The anode terminal is connected to positive plate of battery, and anode terminal is now connected to the P1 region. So when P region is connected to positive potential, it is forward biased. Now the cathode terminal is connected to negative plate of battery, and cathode terminal happens to be the layer N2. So the N region is getting minus and P region is getting plus. That means what? The SCR is said to be in forward bias condition. Now we know that there are three PN junctions here. Okay, the first junction is J1 between P1 and N1. The second junction is J2 between N1 and P2, and the third junction is J3 between P2 and N2. So now J1 is forward biased, J3 is forward biased, but J2 is reverse bias. So when the anode is positive with respect to cathode, the three junctions J1, J2 and J3 are forward, reverse and forward bias respectively, and the electrical equivalent of any forward bias junction is actually a short circuit, and the electrical equivalent of any reverse bias junction is a open circuit. So basically this structure is nothing but equal to this supply, and here we have the anode terminal, and we have the junction J1 acting as short circuit, the junction J2 acting as open circuit, again the junction J3 acting as short circuit, right? So we have J1 equal to forward biased, we have J3 equal to forward biased, and we have J2 equal to reverse bias. So there is no current conduction possible here. Okay.